looking forward to it. So yeah, without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Kiran and Srinivas, today's speakers. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Take it away.
Thanks, Pranil. So most of you have seen me, know me. I'm wearing the Phoenix Moby t-shirt. I'm very enthusiastic about crypto and NFTs now, anything that's shiny. Just a quick note, we are trying to record this session just for people that ask whether it's going to be recorded and things like that. So we're recording it. So feel free to act appropriately, I guess I should say. So I was talking to Srinivas, who is my colleague at work, and he deals with crypto a lot in the insurance space, and he's been exploring it. And we were talking about NFTs, and we came up with, hey, we should actually talk about NFTs and understand what the heck they are. So he aptly was okay with me titling the presentation with an expletive. So so here we are, and NFTs have become really popular these days. So I'll let Srinivas introduce himself, and then we'll get on with the presentation.
Thanks, Kiran. Hi again. Good evening, everybody. My name is Srinivas. I'm Valley resident from past 15 years. So myself and Kiran, we work at the same place. And I am seeing my ex-colleague Hari also there. So today I'm going to talk about a little bit on the blockchain and a little bit on the Ethereum, and then we'll go to the NFTs. And again, this presentation, whatever I'm giving is just personal, and all the opinions are personal, nothing related to the work, whatever I'm doing. That's a disclaimer.
Yeah.
And again, so bear with me if it is more of a one-on-one talk. Most of you are experts, but I will start from the basics. So without further ado, I'll start the presentation. Let me start sharing.
And we want to keep this informal, so at any time you want to ask questions or comment, please feel free to do so.
Yeah. Please feel free to stop, as Kiran mentioned. So title again, NFT April 2021, because in May, I don't know what it's going to look like. So the title is Yesterday's History, Tomorrow is a Mystery, and Today is a Gift. Forget about yesterday and today, but tomorrow definitely it's a mystery for NFTs. So this statement is from the Kung Fu Panda movie. That's what I used to think, but it's not from Kung Fu Panda. This statement was made by Eleanor Roosevelt. So she would have done some NFT at that time, then she would have got the credit. So we'll give a small intro here. I'll run this video with a
Redskins, dado heads, tepid lemonade. Get out of it. Redskins, dado heads, tepid lemonade.
Hey, mate, I'll take 5 of your Redskins and one of those tepid lemonades.
It's one chicken, mate. Not a chicken.
No, that's much better than a chicken, my friend. That is gold.
What?
Gold. The currency of the future.
Great, come back in the future. Redskins.
No, mate, I don't think you understand. This has unlimited use.
Can I eat it?
No.
Can I wear it?
No.
Can I use it as firewood?
No.
It's starting to sound pretty limited, mate.
But you can melt it and then turn it into whatever you want.
Can I turn it into food?
No, you can't eat it.
Is this going to take long? Hold on your horses, mate.
We are dealing in futures here.
Oh, what's that? Is that a rock?
No, worse, it's cold.
Oh, cold. How do I get some cold?
Gold. I have people mining for it.
Oh, you have people. La-dee-da. We got a rich one here, eh? What do you pay them with?
Gold.
Next.
No, they say that this currency could be worth 1,000 rat skins, maybe even more, in just a few years.
Says who?
The people with gold.
Fuck. Next.
Look, every economy ever has been controlled by the big chicken banks.
Next.
And this is our opportunity to get out from under the big chicken boots,
Fuck me.
shake up the market, and start taking back our economic independence. Are you with me?
No.
Really? Come on, man. Look, all my mates are doing it.
I'll just get your hand off it, all right? Everyone's trying to predict the next alt rock. First it was stone, then bronze, then iron, now gold. What can I even do with this shiny shit? Make fucking jewelry out of it or something?
Yes. Yes, you can do that. Great idea, because it's malleable. And best part of all, there's fuck all of it. It's a finite resource.
Mate, I'll tell you what a finite resource is. My fucking patience right now. Piss off!
You know what? Stuff it. I'm taking it back. That's like talking to my dad.
Yeah. Why don't you go discover avocado and smash it on toast, you dickhead?
Yeah, maybe I will.
Sorry, mate.
I'll have a dodo head, thanks.
Half a chicken. Piss on me, not you two.
Oh, no. This is way better than gold. It's silver, or as I like to call it, light gold cash. It's faster to mine. It's...
It's got to be the last one, surely. Ratskins, dodo heads, very tepid lemonade. Get it here. Desert warm.
So hopefully that came through well. I know the audio was good, even though the video was lagging, but we'll share this presentation afterwards for you guys to enjoy it in full 4K if you want. But hopefully this made sense to all of us because of the fact how crazy things are right now with crypto. I was just looking at Dogecoin this afternoon. It's getting crazy, and it's pump and dump kind of schemes that are happening in the crypto space right now. But that's all current. But let's just talk about where all of this craziness started with, right? Satoshi Nakamoto, obviously you've heard of, wrote the Bitcoin. He or she or a group of people wrote the Bitcoin paper, and we've seen that being as the gold standard in terms of understanding what cryptocurrency can be, and that was a seminal paper, if you will, and backed by nobody but just a network, right? And then after some time, then there was the Ethereum white paper written by Vitalik as well. You can obviously go to his website and look at it. And right now he's given it to the foundation, and it's actually very, very, very well written. And Ethereum is built such that you can build apps on top of that. Whereas Bitcoin is basically a cryptocurrency that is supposedly has become a speculative instrument, and sometimes has been called rat poison by Warren Buffett and things like that. But every day, rat poison is becoming more and more expensive, interestingly. But cryptocurrency has gone through lots of history. I mean, Bitcoin obviously made it famous, and the fact that cryptocurrency nowadays is being dealt with the banks as well. I mean, we saw Coinbase going public yesterday, and that's a huge accomplishment in the sense that the banking system has been able to be networked with the crypto network to allow you to change from fiat to cryptocurrency and all of these other currencies that it has spawned off, right? We've put a link here about the whole history of cryptocurrencies, et cetera. I mean, even before Bitcoin paper, there was lots of other ideas that were proposed, but I think Bitcoin was the paper that made sense because it came from lots of thinking in terms of computer science principles and stopping the double spend problem, as well as getting consensus using distributed network and having a distributed ledger to allow nobody to hack any of the transactions. And obviously there are lots of issues with keeping the network alive and mining, etc. And that's become more and more prevalent these days because of the fact that we have too much energy consumption in all of these cryptocurrency networks, and people are starting to think about that as well, right? And so Ethereum obviously is looking at ETH2, which is basically instead of a proof of work concept to a proof of stake. If you're more interested in some of those things, you can definitely read up on some of the links that we've put on this presentation and have you guys get an understanding. But we're going to skip ahead because we want to talk about what the heck NFTs are. And NFTs are built on top of basic digital ledgers, along with built on top of Ethereum, which allows you to build applications, etc. So we'll go to the next one and then have Srinivas talk about what the stack looks like, and then get to the actual fun part of actually creating an NFT. Go ahead, Srinivas.
Sure, Kiran, thank you. Sorry. So as Kiran gave that introduction, so now that we know what the blockchain is meant for. So in the definition wise, it's a time-stamped series of immutable transactions. So time-stamped series meant to say that, yes, we can trace it back all the way from where it started. And with a managed cluster of computers with a special computer algorithms. So nobody owns this network. It's a democratized environment. There is no downtime, there is no CEO, there is no governance here. So each node is in a blockchain shares the same copy of data. Obviously, we are replicating the ledger everywhere. So that means there is a consensus. 51% of the network should agree on certain thing, then only it will become a block and it will get added. So each node represents in the network the same algorithm to reach the consensus. So now whether the asset that we are transferring between the parties, or whether we are buying an item from a third party source that we don't trust. So all these cases, we want some kind of a intermediary which can act as a trustworthy party, like in usually the banks. So between the two banks, if you have to clear, if you have a check that has to clear from one bank to other bank, the clearing and settlement takes at least 1 or 2 days, because each bank is maintaining its own ledger. They have to reconcile and they have to agree upon the transaction. So now blockchain typically solves that problem with no intermediaries. Obviously, the way we all familiar with this block, it's all chained together like a typical linked list in a data structure. So each block header contains the hash of the previous block, so it's hard to break the chain. So it's connected blocks. And it's not acid, it's not a base. So what I mean to say is, be it an acid transaction or a base transactions, but we have a salt transaction, so which is nothing but sequential. So the transaction occur in some sequential ordering. So they are time-stamped basis and agreed upon. So we have a consensus mechanism that we are all agreeing to. The nodes are at least 51% of the network is agreeing to, and it's ledger. So all the evidences are stored in a ledger that is, again, distributed, decentralized across the network. And it is tamper-proof, because obviously you cannot tamper it, because it's already a huge blocks that are chained together. Almost in Bitcoin world, almost like 200 GB of blocks are already there. It's not practical to tamper it. So now that we have some idea on the blockchain basics, I'm going to slightly deviate from the original blockchain to the use cases now. So now, as Kiran mentioned, Ethereum is the second most popular blockchain. I'm not talking Ether as a currency here. I'm talking about Ethereum as a network. So we have so many DeFi apps built on Ethereum now. So what is the DeFi means? The decentralized finance. So any financial service, so like typical or banking, lending, all those domains, now they are getting built on Ethereum on the blockchain. So those are all called DeFi projects. So the way it started, 2009 Bitcoin began, 2013 first time price went up. It is following the 4-year cycle. Pretty much the price goes up every 4 year. Now we are in the probably third wave, I think, or fourth wave. But this time the wave is different, as you're seeing. In 2017, major ICO offerings started, and most of the fundraisings and new ideas and new projects. And Ethereum picked up a lot. Now we have so many projects, DeFi projects on Ethereum, that I'm going to go through in a bit. So right now, at the moment, the value of these assets which are embedded in smart contracts. That means they're not talking about the ether value here, just the smart contracts locked inside are about 50 billion. This is published by none other than the federal, St. Louis federal website. They have published an article, so which I'm going to show you. So the research is being done, and it's pretty much like a believable market now. It's not no longer a fake or a fake ICO kind of thing right at the moment. A lot of new emerging tech is coming on, new emerging ideas are coming on Ethereum. And we have on stable coins which are backing a lot of these ideas. So stable coins are pretty much like they don't have that much volatility as the Bitcoins and other things. So they are having some fundamentals like asset-backed tokens, and we have debt-backed tokens, and we have synthetic and algorithmic tokens. So these are adding a lot of new opportunities on DeFi space. So if you go to the top 10, today's top 10, we have Uniswap, Chainlink. I'm going to talk about Chainlink in a bit because this is closer to what I'm working today. So Uniswap and SushiSwap, most of these are coin exchanges where you can exchange the coins, and you can even exchange the stable coins as well. And uh, pretty much you are having a lot. If you want to see the current state of distributed apps or the dApps, you can go through this website. This is very informative website I have seen, where you can particularly see each and every market, how it is running. So on the Ethereum itself, how many applications are there around? Uh, I see more than thousands of applications here, like be it a stable coin, be it a Chainlink, be it a Uniswap, SushiSwap, or be it Aave kind of applications which are related to lending. So these applications are definitely adding value. Some of them are still yet to mature. I see some impractical interest rates like 11% on compound, which is not practically possible. When banks are giving hardly 1%, how can you give 11%? Definitely there is something wrong there. But there are some good applications, and more genuine applications are there on Ethereum at the moment. So you can see the DeFi basics separately. So I'm going to go through this next slide. So here, if you are observing the regular traditional finance markets, like be it money, central banking, commercial banking, investment banking, exchanges, or the brokerages, typical lending, or the insurance space, or the payments, asset management. So any market you take, you have a counterparty that is available on DeFi space at the moment. I'm not suggesting that all are reliable here on the right side, but some are reliable, some are getting matured. But it's definitely a space to take a look at it and see what is happening in this space. So you have a dollar and euros, and here you have DAI, which is more stable coin compared to Bitcoin, and you have Aave. And like that, you have pretty much if you take an insurance space, you have a typical AIG, Liberty Mutuals on the traditional insurance. On the right hand side, we have Nexus Mutual and Cover, and a lot of other um, insurance companies are also there on the DeFi space. And even on the lending side, you have a lot of lending applications on the DeFi space like Aave, so which can use your traditional assets, or let's say even US dollar you can convert to any token and then use it for lending. Or instead of selling your Bitcoin and pay the capital gains, you can use it for lending, and you can give to asset managers, asset management companies like this, and they can grow that capital. Very typical traditional asset management style of companies are available. And again, none of these are owned by anybody. It's pretty much public networks. So you will see a lot of transparency.
So I've got a quick question on that one then. So the way I read that chart, there's an analog for the central banker. How does that comport with the decentralized nature of it all?
So here on your question is mostly on the analog banking. So are you talking about the money transfer? Or are you talking about the lending?
Well, so on the left side, the second one down is central banking, and there's three logos: the Federal Reserve and some others. And then you follow the dotted line all the way over to the right, and there's three logos over there. So is there a central banker who's in charge of interest rates and all that sort of stuff in the same way? How does that make sense with the decentralized coin?
Definitely, that's a good question. So something like a compound or maker, they decide their interest rates. But as I said, compound has an interest rate of 11%, which is unbelievable. So you don't want to put all your money on compound because that doesn't make sense. So definitely there is high risk involved in that case. So their interest rates are driven by the particular network. There is no standard. And most of the time your assets will be used, like either you are 99% you are over collateralizing to get a loan on DeFi space because of a lot of volatility. Did I answer the question, or you have a follow-up question on that?
No, I think it makes sense. It's not really a direct analog. Like if I have a broken dollar bill and I have 51% of the dollar bill, I can drop it off at the Fed and I get a brand new dollar bill from it. They're more than happy to take it in as long as it's 50.1%. If I have 50.1% of my digital wallet because my hard disk crashed, I can't take it to the central bank and get a new coin to replace it, for example.
Right.
It's not quite an exact analog.
No, it is not exact analog. At the same time, your storage need not be on your hardware. You can directly put it on the decentralized network itself. You can store it on the Ethereum itself. So most of these had counterparts, like even on the payment side, you have MetaMask, which can do the wallet transfers. And pretty much on the right-hand side, whatever you're seeing is the counterpart of the traditional market, what we have. And again, they're still maturing. I'm not advising any of these to either to invest money on that. Just keep an eye on what is happening around. So the article that I mentioned, which got published on St. Louis Federal Reserve website. So they have the gentleman, I forgot, I think Fabian, he is a professor in Basel University, Switzerland. He came up with this diagram on the right side. So this rings the bell of pretty much the OSI layers, what you typically see. So most of the settlement happens on the blockchain and Ethereum. So all the security is pretty much depending on the bottom layer here. So as long as this bottom layer is strong enough, all your top layers, all your protocol and application layers makes more sense. So it's a multi-layered architecture again, all the DeFi apps, what we are seeing today. So at the bottom, we have Ethereum as a blockchain, and we have a asset layer that we are going to talk about, fungible tokens and non-fungible tokens, which are ERC20 and ERC721 are the standards for that. And you have on top of it, you have protocol layer where you are doing the exchanging, lending, derivatives, asset management, all these things that we have seen before. They are pretty much Aave kind of things are coming at a protocol layer. So, and on top of it, we have application layers where we have wallets like MetaMask. So where we are interfacing with our exchanges. And on the top of it, again, we have aggregations where an aggregator like Coinbase, CoinDesk, they are aggregating all these below layers. So this is a multi-layered architecture in the DeFi space. Read this article. This is really informative. That's what I have seen. Now coming to our topic of the day, NFTs. So what is the value, the regard that something is held to deserve, the importance of worth or usefulness of something. So be it a Pokemon card that your kid carries all the day, or NFTs now we are crazy about. So we have tokens which are, so we have assets which are fungible and non-fungible. Fungible is nothing but interchangeable, like your dollar bill. Let's say if I ask you a dollar bill, you will not ask me which serial number of dollar bill you want. You'll just give a dollar bill because they are fungible, interchangeable. But non-fungible is not like that. They are unique, and fungible are pretty much identical. They look alike, and non-fungible they are unique. So even though I buy a Mona Lisa picture from Walmart, definitely it's not the original one. So here we are going to talk more NFT as a tech instrument than as an asset. Um, Again, we can discuss about thoughts and opinions after the presentation. So NFT is a unique item. It could be an art piece, or it could be the NBA Top Shot videos, or it could be a first tweet of the guy, Twitter CEO, or it can be moments from history, or it can be valuable collectibles, stamps, um, bringing out of the blockchain. And you get a certificate, and you can see the lineage, how it got into blockchain, and who bought it and who transferred from where. All the lineage, we can see the verifiable lineage. So the success stories of these NFTs. So it started in around 2017. Somebody says that CryptoPunks is the first one to get the famous name, and the CryptoKitties. Somebody says CryptoKitties. But either way, but it's not our debate. So CryptoKitties definitely got a lot of fame. The trading value is 110 million US dollars per month at the moment. So here you will see a lot of these cats. Pretty much you can see search for sale, what are the cats available, and it's funny that you can breed these cats. They have a history of who is their mother and who is their father, all those silly things. But you can breed the cats and you can sell it. I think initially it started as a gamification, but over the period of time now we see a lot of economic coming into picture. So we have two different standards for NFTs, ERC 721 and ERC 1155. So today what we are going to see the demo is ERC 721. That's the first standard that came up with, and ERC 1155 is more of an extension of 721. So we have various marketplaces where we can trade these NFTs, like Rareable, OpenSea, Super Rare, all these places where we can buy and sell all these NFTs. So current market is around 150 million in a month, and volume is increasing. And it definitely this number might be old. Now the number might be different. So we have around 500 million crypto art data. So a lot of these statistics that are telling that there is a lot of movement of NFTs at the moment. Are they overhyped or they worth the hype? I'm definitely I'm not the person to comment. For me, it looks silly, but they are having their own movement now. So the right hand side, the resolution is pretty bad, but it's the 5,000 days. If you all know this, this got a lot of fame and brought fame to the NFTs actually. So someone named Beeple, his original name is Mike Winkelmann. He prepared this collage of 5,000 pictures, attaching them together, first 5,000. So he sold it. This one is, I think, 69 million. This be a digital art. But if you look at further, these NFTs are not just digital art. It can be used for other purposes as well, like real estate, government documents, like certifications, diplomas, and many more. So I heard there is a project in Singapore where they're trying to digitize the certificates of students. So it's easy to verify, easy to carry, because obviously there is nothing to destroy, and there is uh, nothing to be stolen there, because it's all available on the blockchain. So now let's talk about Ethereum a little bit, because that's the fundamental of all these DeFi apps, and NFT is one of the DeFi app. So Ethereum is a network. Ethereum runs on the Ethereum, the virtual machine. It sounds like a Java virtual machine to me because I'm from Java guy. So Ethereum has its own currency, but we will discuss only on the Ethereum network today. So gas is a fuel that we'll use for Ethereum blockchain network. So gas limit and gas price, we are going to talk about it now. So on the right hand side, what you're seeing is a typical transaction. So from this address to this address, we have transferred some money, 0.1 Ether, and the gas limit is 30,000. They are measured in GWay, the gigaway, and gas used by this transaction is 21,000. So rest of the money goes back to the account from where the transaction got initiated. So if I have to compare with it, it's typically the gas limit is what we usually like. Let's say I have to go drive from point A to point B. I fill my car with complete tank full gas because I don't want to take the risk of stranded on the middle of the road. So I take more gas than what I need because I don't want to be stranded on the road. Similarly here, we don't want to put less gas. We'll put more gas. We may not use all the gas. So here only the transaction is used is only 21,000 gigabyte. So rest of them went back to the original owner. And he can set the gas price. So if you want the miners, if you want to attract the miners, you will put higher gas price so that miners will come and execute your transaction first. If you put 0 as your gas price, nobody may not look at your transaction at all. It will not be added to the network. So you want to attract the miners by giving them better gas prices. So typically the smart contract, which is nothing but an immutable code. This is not a legal document, but it's a code that gets executed on a certain condition. So I was talking about one of the use cases on the DeFi is the chain link. So the chain link is an oracle on the Ethereum network. So off the chain, because this Ethereum network doesn't talk to internet at all. So if your smart contract needs some information from internet, let's say you want to know the S&P 500 value, or if you wanted to know some other climate data, all those things are brought to the network from a node like Chainlink. Chainlink is the guy who has the node running on the Ethereum. They can bring the data onto the blockchain. So this smart contract is an immutable code and it's irreversible. So that means whatever we are deploying, it cannot be reversed. So we have to test it thoroughly before we deploy it. Unlike a traditional application, where if something goes wrong, I can just roll back my whole code and bring up a new code. That's not possible with blockchain. That's not possible with the smart contract. So it can store the crypto assets, thereby assume the role of a custodian. And gas is a small fee for the contract execution, that we have seen in the previous slide. So most of these contracts are developed in a language called Solidity. So Solidity is similar to the C++ object-oriented style of language, but it's really not matured yet. So right now the version is 0.9, but it is not backward compatible. Let's say you have something written in 0.4, it will never compile on 0.9. So this Solidity is yet to mature. So with that, I will show the demo. So what we will do is, if you want to come online, we can take a picture of everybody. So that way, I can take a screenshot. I'll stop sharing for a while. Okay, I think.
Okay, come on, don't be shy. There's some more people I know. I want to call out and say, hey, show your face on camera. Hal J. Carpenter. He was one of our first speakers that actually did a blockchain presentation several years ago, right? And we actually had him bring, I remember, News Times and did a workshop where we were actually doing what the Bitcoin or blockchain transaction would look like. And that was really fun. I loved it.
I've done that many times, Kieran.
Okay, awesome.
And over the years, and it's always fun. It's always a great exercise. And your meetup was the first time I ever tried that. So that was awesome. Thanks.
You should create an NFT out of it and credit us.
It's worth $10 at least.
No, it doesn't have to be worth anything, but okay, with that, maybe we can just hi or take a screenshot, Sinwas.
Yep.
Got it.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload this picture to Amazon Cloud. One second.
You can share again whenever you want.
I'm going to share the screen again. All right. I already set up a static server here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload our picture here. All right. I'll make sure that okay. I just want to make sure that this is available. I'm going to take this one. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a metadata and I'm going to use a fake JSON server on the GitHub. So this metadata is optional. It's not mandatory. So you can keep it or leave it.
You want to change the name as well. Sinwas, in the db.json.
Oh, I just named it as NFT for fun. What do you want to put it?
PHX Mobi NFT. Yeah.
Okay. So this is again the metadata. So now what we'll do here is while it is getting loaded. So here I have set up the project. So I was testing before to make sure nothing goes wrong. So here I'm using Truffle as my major framework to deploy this NFT and even to talk to the blockchain network. I'm going to test it on local and I'm going to put it on the test network, Ethereum test network called RingBy. And I'm using the Open Zeppelin. Open Zeppelin already gives me a lot of pre-built code. So for the sake of simplicity, here I'm using the ERC-721 preset minter parser. That's a contract I'm going to use, which is already existing. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a new file. So here I'm going to replace our original, our metadata. So our current metadata is that's our metadata. So that is nothing but the token URI. I'm going to give the token URI. So what we are here putting on the blockchain is a token URI. So you may ask me the question, why are we taking the risk of putting our asset onto some other cloud like AWS? Not necessarily. We can directly put it on the Ethereum itself. Just for the testing sake, I'm putting on some other repository where I think we can put it for now. Ideally, this should be on the on the Ethereum blockchain itself. Now that I have this contract ready again, so this is the contract I'm going to use, the ERC 721 preset minter parser. So this guy has already written all the Solidity code and it's ready for me. So all the contracts I have copied on the build directory. So this is coming from the Open Zeppelin. So if you just go to npm install Open Zeppelin contracts, you will get all the contracts, and you can use truffle to initialize your environment and copy all the contracts. That's the simplest way to start with. So here what I'm doing is I'm running my local blockchain. It is called Ganache. So Ganache is a local blockchain. Even I can use the Truffle itself. Truffle also comes up with their own blockchain, but here I'm going to use the Ganache. So Truffle console network development. That means pretty much I'm connecting to my local network, which is our Ganache now. We can verify what are the accounts available. So ideally it should pretty much be the same as what you're seeing here, all these 10 accounts. So all these 10 accounts are already awarded with 100 Ether. Definitely it's a fake Ether. I would have been rich by now if it is real Ether. So right hand side, what you're seeing is the private key of my account. And this is a public address where we will be transferring the asset. So in the truffle now, I'm going to say migrate. So it is going to migrate all my compile and migrate all my contracts, smart contracts to this blockchain network. Sorry, my machine is a little slow.
I was going to jump in with a question. How long does this typically take? Like if I want to go and buy a piece of coffee, right? If I want to buy a cup of coffee and it takes this long, I'm probably not buying a cup of coffee. Right? Like they were complaining when the chip credit cards came out that the 2 or 3 seconds it takes to do a chip credit card might cause people to not buy stuff because it's that quick.
That's true. So the whole point of blockchain peer-to-peer suffering with the sluggishness. But as Kiran mentioned briefly, Ethereum 2.0, where the consensus will work on proof of stake. So proof of work is what is being used today, but proof of stake supposed to be really faster, as fast as 100,000 transactions per second, which can almost compete with Visa. So let's hope that it's going to work out. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that our NFT got deployed. So here, what I'm doing is I'm going to check here my ERC 721 is deployed or not. So here I'm going to get a reference to it. So make sure that it is working. So our Phoenix Mobi NFT got deployed. So you can make sure that the symbol is also correct. It is there. So now what we can do is now it got deployed to the network. So we can use any of these 10 accounts to mint the token. So pretty much we have used the first, I mean, it uses the first one and the ganache. So this is our public address of the first account. So we can make this guy as a owner. So right now we have 8 blocks already on that network. So it got minted now. So you should see one more block got added now. So here now we can verify who is the owner of this one. So await NFT dot owner of, just to make sure that we awarded to the right address. It is the right guy. And we can also see the token URI. So ideally, this is the one. We can verify it. Obviously, I have only one token here, so one NFT here. So each Solidity file can have more than one contract. It's not going to stop us to have multiple contracts in one Solidity file. So this is our first one. So here, now that we have tested, it is working fine. So we have spent some GWay, the gigaway on this transaction. Now that it works, now we can see what are the blocks that got added. Now we can try and push it to the test network I was mentioning about. So at this point, I'm going to exit and I'm going to go to. So here, if you see the truffle.config file, here I'm mentioning what are my target networks. So on the development, I have my local host Ganache running 7545, and I have given some gas. And on the ring buy, I'm using my MetaMask wallet. So here, so this is a wallet I'm using at the moment. I have some money here credited to the account. And again, this is a test network. Ring-Buy is a test network. So it's not a real money. So here I'm using my private key and I'm using that wallet provider. And here I'm using the APIs, Ring-Buy APIs to push this particular smart contract into Ring-Buy test network. So now I'm connected to the network. So this is my test network and I have only one account there. So this is ideally, if you are connected to your original mainnet, which is the Ethereum network, you will have your account there. So here again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to migrate my contract.
one thing I want to point out is that since we are geeks, we can do all of this stuff. But if you are an artist and you have no concept of programming or anything else, all of these marketplaces have built out UXs that allow you to take your NFT asset and then put it on the on OpenSea and then mint it, as they call it, and then start selling it right away. But then there is a cost associated with it, and you'll have to pay the actual fees to mint your NFTs currently. Yep. And that's quite high currently.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, it will be very seamless because we have all the web interfaces. So here, due to lack of time, I did not build a web interface. So if I had built a web interface, most of these commands I don't need to type like this. So most of the web3.js is a library which will take care of all these things, interacting with the blockchain. Looks like I haven't done it. Okay, deployed. Let me see whether. Okay, it got deployed. So again, I'm going to do mint. This kind. Whoever has deployed will make sure that we'll mint. Okay. Now, what we can do is so ideally now we can see so the owner of this particular NFT. Now what we can do is we can verify particular NFT on the network. So ideally, if I see my MetaMask, I think right now it's negligible amount. That's why it's not reflecting. Otherwise, I will have some or less amount. Here it's, I think probably it's rounded up right now. Let me see the NFT. Here is our NFT on the test net at the moment. So this is how we have to deploy it. Of course, we can transfer it once we have the bidding and all those things, or we can just leave it here. So we can transfer it. So pretty much your ERC 721. 1 second. So it has a transfer functionality as well. So you can transfer it from address and to address. Again, you will give what is a token ID. So pretty much it's going to do, it can transfer the particular NFT to different owner now. So this is how you tokenize your assets. So this is one example I can think of. So now this is pretty much it on the demo side. Now we can open the floor for questions or we can discuss about it. So here what you're seeing is OpenSea testnet. If it is a production, obviously it will be OpenSea.io. And this is where the contract address is. You can refresh the metadata and you can see, you can share it, you can see the metadata on this one. All right. Let's go back to our thing. Yep, please go ahead.
What? I think I get how it works. What problem is this solving? How is this not a solution searching for a problem?
So what problem it is solving is you are tokenizing an asset. So definitely, and you have a data lineage where you know, let's say you are selling a land or you are selling a car. You don't need to look at the paper, look at the car history and all those things. Now you have everything digitized. So anything in the tokenomics, anything you can tokenize, the asset can be tokenized now. Now you don't have a chance to have a fraud in countries I have seen like in India. So where the land is sold to multiple parties because of lack of evidences, proper lineage, data lineage. So those corruptions can be definitely solved.
So like title insurance for your house then.
Yeah. And definitely you have a more visibility. So to the actual transaction than before, from where this asset came from and whether it's genuine or not. So in the supply chain, we have tons of use cases like the silly use case or maybe serious use case. I don't know whether the wine bottle came from really the California winery or not. So we can track all the way where the asset started from.
Yeah, I want to also add, yeah, there's lots of skepticism and things like that, but NFTs have spawned, a lot of artists have gotten onto this because if you think about art, right? An artist makes a painting and it gets sold at a gallery, right? And the artist makes some money or some amount of money, probably really small because the gallery buys thousands and thousands of paintings, right? But then after that asset has started moving in the marketplace, the actual original artist doesn't see a dime other than the fact that, oh, there is his signature that you can barely make out on the piece of art itself. But the NFT world has opened up where there could be sustaining royalties that you can put on these contracts to allow for, I say, right now, OpenSea has, or all of these marketplaces have created like a 10% fee that, or royalty, if you will, that will go back to the original owner of the art itself that gets transferred over to a number of third parties over time, right? So lots of artists are understanding the how powerful it is, just like how musicians they sell their album and then they don't see anything afterwards, right? Versus you want to keep selling, you want to keep seeing a royalty as a piece of art, if you will, can go from one place to another or change its hands, etc. So that's one positive thing about NFTs that the art world I'm hearing about from people that have actually started to embrace this. So like the Beeple piece was sold for 69 million. Now somebody else buys it and sells it, and the artist will get 10% going forward continuously, right? Whereas in the real art world, the artist never sees anything after it was sold to somebody. So I see that as one positive thing, and people argue about the fact that, okay, if you buy a real painting versus if you buy an NFT, it's easy to transport, yeah, because there's nothing to transport. But then what can you do with it? I guess you can put it up in your virtual world, etc. But is it stopping from anybody else taking that picture now and putting it as a background? Probably not. I think it's all about just showing ownership of an asset in the art world currently, right? All of these crypto kitties or crypto punks and all of that stuff, anybody can put them as avatars on their social media profiles. Nothing's stopping them. But then who really owns that? You can definitely go to the blockchain and go, oh, he owns it. He paid so many ether for that, or so much money for that. One can argue, yeah, it's really just bragging rights, right? So there's a spectrum of what the NFT is being talked about. But I think the NFT as a concept will start to evolve, and lots more ideas will be built using that. And we're going to see this whole era grow. Anybody else wants to add anything? Go ahead, Jay.
Well, so, the question is this a solution searching for a problem? And in my mind, we're very, very early in this whole realm. And what non-fungible tokens actually represent is dynamic and programmable property rights. So, if you own, let's say, a patent or a copyright or a piece of land or whatever that sits in a kind of a static centralized registry that's controlled by a centralized authority, you really don't have any code, any logic that can go along with that property right, so that it's dynamic and it can change over time and it can do certain things, and you can slice and dice it in different levels. And what I'm excited about surrounding the NFTs, the non-fungible tokens, is the dynamic nature of it, such that we can add this logic, we can add this realm of flexibility and change over time to these property rights. There are still some huge areas to innovate around. And I think we have to keep in mind that these non-fungible tokens and the associated property rights are very much within a certain domain or confine, like the Ethereum blockchain. The property rights aren't ubiquitous. They don't expand to other chains, other realms, other contexts. It's sort of like having a patent in, I don't know, Lithuania or Estonia. Well, it's recognized there, but if you go to, Russia or China or United States, it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
So,
and that was actually going to be, I think, one of the next questions I have is what prevents me from making this token in multiple different ones and then selling it to multiple people and they all claim to be the owner.
Yeah, that's exactly what is that Mona Lisa painting picture I have shown you. Like if I buy it from a Walmart, you know exactly what is Mona Lisa picture from. If you come to my home, you will see that, yeah, this is from Walmart, not the original one. So that way you know exactly what is the genuine nature of that particular NFT is.
It's also a matter of control. Yes, you could duplicate the digital asset in other contexts, but only in the Ethereum ecosystem could the owner of that NFT transfer it to another owner because of the, private key situation that's associated with that property right. So the ability to sell it, the ability to change, from one wallet to another, that's a key function of the essence of the property right associated with that set of digits, if that makes sense.
And definitely this is going to work in some more industries like music, audio coins, or content. Like now Facebook is making a lot of money on the content that we post. But what if the content publisher, they also get benefit, and whoever is appreciating, they also get the benefit. So something like a Stream It, they are working on that. So in that you are mostly democratizing, so without having that central piece there. So whoever is the owner of the publisher, they should be benefited.
Yeah, and I think the point you bring up there is right on target. The essence of NFTs really isn't new because it's been happening within the gaming realm, where you could buy certain,
Skins, yeah.
weapons and different things within a certain game. It didn't transfer outside of that game, but within that game. But the difference is the game is usually controlled by some sort of centralized authority that could basically take away those, your special sword or your special armor or whatever. And when we're talking about decentralized realms, that becomes more difficult, if not impossible.
Any other questions? I mean, definitely, we're still in the first innings or second innings, I should say, in this whole space, and we're going to see a lot more innovation, a lot more failures before we can see this whole thing take off. And we're going to hear about court cases that are going to start to have to worry about, okay, who really owns this piece of art, or who really owns this? Can you use it somewhere else because somebody owns it, kind of stuff as well, right?
So on that line, can you actually tell who owns it, or can you simply prove that you own it? If all I see is just this random, 24-digit hex character that says this person owns it, or can I actually tie that to the person and be like banks have like know your customer rules, where you have to actually be able to prove that this is a real person and they're citizens and all that sort of stuff. Or is it just I can prove that I own it because I have the private key?
Yeah, here you can see. So if you are on the OpenSea here, see these are the tokens I have uploaded already. So here, ideally, I didn't put my profile name and all those things. So here, that I am the owner of these NFTs. I have an identity here. I don't need to be anonymous, but I choose to be like.
Right.
Yeah. So there's a lot of pseudonymous people on the crypto network. So if you actually just go to OpenSea.io, and you can actually see users that have their wallets and then have bragging rights of, okay, these are the things that I have on my wallet that I've paid for, and it's like a showcase, if you will, just like your Instagram profile. These are all the pictures that you've taken, and you have things, right? But then,
so let's say I want to know who this person is, because I want to, I don't know, maybe I want to sue them or whatever. I want to do something against them. How do I find out who that person is?
You might not be able to determine that with absolute certainty.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it would be like, let's say, a social security number that you couldn't really trace to the actual person.
Right.
You can see the number, but you don't really know.
Who's the
If you couldn't contact the Social Security Administration, you would, anybody could claim to be the owner of that. The only way you can absolutely determine, does Jay, is he the owner and control of the wallet, is if I have the ability to assign a transaction or transfer the ownership of that digital item to somebody else. If I can do that, then it's me.
Right.
But outside of that, anybody could claim to be the owner of it. And this is one of the key problems for all of this to really move to the next level is a workable decentralized identity construct where, there is a spectrum between absolute definitive identity and absolute anonymous identity or lack of.
Okay, good.
All right. So if there are no other questions, we can move on to our final slide.
This is the fun one too. So it made it all the way to SNL last week, and they had a nice skit. So I thought we would want to share that, and it was pretty fun. One, go ahead. Okay.
This is the second or third time I've seen that bit, and what occurred to me is it's actually touching upon a very profound dynamic of this entire new realm, which is up until the point of decentralization, blockchain, NFTs, whatever, we've sort of idolized and held in the highest esteem institutions like the Federal Reserve, which Janet Yellen represents. So part of the parody here is that you have the head of the Federal Reserve supposedly teaching a class about monetary systems and whatever. And this new realm of decentralization has given the tools to anybody in the class, including the janitor who comes in from outside, to have as much power as Janet Yellen and the Federal Reserve in certain senses.
Nicely put. Janet Yellen and janitor, yep. Yeah.
So, that's part of the interest in this. It's not only just the phenomenal amount of money that we're talking about. And by the way, a little historical note, the first transaction on the Bitcoin blockchain was for a pizza for 10,000 Bitcoin, which would be worth $630 million today, a pizza. And that was like, what, 10 years ago, 11 years ago, 12, whatever. So generally, we look at the phenomenal amount of value and wealth and so forth that's transferring, but what this skit, the SNL skit, just spoke to me about is that it's really the distributed power. It's like Wikipedia versus the encyclopedias, and now it's expanded into property rights. So. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for that nice analysis. It's really good. Good, Jay. Thanks.
All right.
Any other questions? If not, I know it's been. We actually thought it's going to be half an hour, but you guys made it much more fun by asking questions and having you guys see the demo, etc. But there's lots of other companies making it easy for you to mint NFTs. Like artists are going there and minting NFTs all day long and selling everything they can. So yeah, yes.
I have something to say. Kiran and Srinivas nicely put. I really like the presentation, and SNL always is a good thing to yeah, very serious audience. And I really like their messages that they come in as Jay has put together. It's really nicely laid out, and I appreciate. And I think Srinivas should do more presentations often with
Oh,
us.
thank you, Anjali. It's a good start. Thank you.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Nicely
Oh,
presented.
speaking of that, that's a good segue into asking if anybody's interested in presenting for next month. We're open for ideas, so feel free to reach out to Pranil, myself, or Anjali, and we'll try to schedule something with you guys. If there are other topics that you are looking at and going, hey, that's something that I want to talk about, we can definitely think about that too. Yeah, and this week has been really awesome news. Yesterday, Coinbase went public, and today, Too Simple, which is an autonomous trucking company, went public as well. So I think Doug probably is all over that company. You have anything to add, Doug? You're muted.
Yep.
Wasn't it a SPAC though? I'm not too confident in any of these companies doing SPACs, so that's why I'm really up for Rivian coming out towards the end of the year going public. Lucid, I'm very surprised they're doing a SPAC also, as big as they are, and actually having something to sell right away. So we'll see. I don't know. Some of these SPACs recently have come under quite a bit of fire for.
Yeah.
They worry me. I think that's going to start cracking. They're going to start cracking down on that and not allowing those to happen that way. Or more disclosure, more traditional stuff that you would have to do if you were a company going public.
If we have too many more of these that they get caught with their proverbial pants down, then yeah, Lordstown Motors is kind of scrambling at the moment themselves. But thank you guys for a great event. Really appreciate it and help this brain understand this a little more.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Srinivas, again for nice presentation. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you, Kiran. Thank you,
Thank you.
Srinivas.
Yep.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.